autopsy is a scientific investigation involving more or less complete dissection of the dead body. The purpose is to reveal the presence of pathologic processes and their relation to clinical events preceding death, and to determine the cause or causes of death. First, the body must be positively identified. Identification is usually established by a properly signed death tag attached to the foot or the hand. Secondly, the prosector must have written authority to perform the autopsy. Standard Form 523 should be complete. Any restrictions limiting the extent of dissection must be obeyed. The examiner should also note such signs as abdominal distension, abnormal pigmentation, evidence of old or recent surgery, ulcerations, and deformity.
This is the Korn story. Are you ready? Are you fucking ready?
You can have a million-man march, we can have Korn play at the Apollo. And you can fucking show that on your documentary.
They have totally changed my life. They are gods. I love Korn.
What? What? Only one of 400. Ah.
You guys rule!
They sing from the heart.
I want to sing with Jonathan Davis.
I met Korn.
Dedicated. 800 bucks.
Travels over 1,000 miles to see you guys at Apollo.
If they weren't the best band in the world, I wouldn't be standing here 3 hours early for a concert.
You should know where the true fans are? When they come to Harlem just to see a Korn show. One of the worst places in New York City.
So who the fuck's who? Reggie Arvizu. His nickname is Filthy. Brian Welch's head. Because in his own words, his head is so fucking big that no hat fits him. And James Schaefer, his monkey. He fucked up his finger in a bike accident, and his doctor told him to try a musical instrument to give his finger some strength. David Silvera doesn't have a nickname. He was so young when they found him through a classified ad that they all cracked up when they heard his voice on the answering machine. He was only 13 years old, but he could definitely pound those skins. Jonathan may be a cool motherfucker now, but at school, he was picked on by all the other kids. As the story goes, he got his HIV tattoo to discourage morons from kicking the shit out of him. He said that the tattoo has probably saved my life. You know, in situations when passion and lust take over your brain, I take a look at that tattoo, and I think to myself, the virus is still out there. You never know who's got it. And they're all a bunch of insane fucking dudes.
Go to the big rock show, baby. Get up and get fucking crazy. Fucking whole blast.
They'll go a little fucking nuts. Yeah.
My worst nightmare is to be watching this show and get hit in the head with a fucking chair.
It's an easy way to let out my anger. Because it's good music to just like get down to, you know? And like when there's a whole group of people, like the amount of people that are gonna be here tonight, and the music starts going, everyone's gonna be jumping in, like there's gonna be a pit. It's so wild, man. Oh God. I love pits. I wish I could get in so I could just like be on the outside of the pit and be like pushing all the pussies back in. I gotta get a ticket, man. I'm just about ready to do anything.
I made a life-size Jonathan Davis, and it was like a poster. And a guy picked me out of the crowd from MTV, and he brought me over to where like the camera was and everything. And Fieldy comes out, and he interviewed us, and he gave me tickets right on TV, on TRL too. Brought my friend.
I'm happy to have her as a friend. She's got connections.
Yeah. Yeah!
Yeah, man. Is that the best you can do, man?
No, that's not the best we can do. How's that?
Excellent.
1 of 400. We are all blessed. We are all blessed and fortunate to be experiencing this. Once in a lifetime opportunity. Yeah.
Forming a band is as good a way as any to get out of a shithole like Bakersfield.
This place sucks, man. But if it wasn't for this place, though, Korn wouldn't be as hardworking and sound like they do.
When you're a teenager there's not much to do except get fucked up on drugs and liquor.
Well, this town is really, it's a hard town to live in as far as it's very alcohol influenced, very anger driven.
Fuck yeah!
If you're lucky, you might get into some music.
I play in a band called Swag. I play guitar. Pretty much I founded the band, and we play more of the kind of the Korn style, but not really. It's a little bit different.
This is something I've seen. I've gone out to see other bands, and it seems like they support their friends. I've seen Fieldy in Head and Jonathan at an orgy show before. A couple other bands I've seen them at, little gigs, not arena gigs. I'm talking about where there's only been 150 people there. And those guys have been there to support their friends or just bands maybe they've heard of. So they seem to be really dedicated people.
Yeah, they go to our shows. I was there at their last recording session for the last album. I was at the last for Follow the Leader. I was at that recording session. They've been Monkey, and they've been to our practices. Our bass player grew up with Monkey. Actually, Head used to be in a band with our singer. He did some. They were in a band called Iconoclasm about 10 years ago. He did some guitar work on their stuff.
Bakersfield is like, it's like a big small town. Almost everyone knows each other, and the kids are looking for somewhere they can go where their parents aren't going to be like driving by and worrying about them all the time and not just going to the movies or going bowling. So I think that's why Jerry's has really taken off.
You know, I think that it was 1994 when the Korn played first time here. And of course, we didn't pay much attention probably like we do now. They were not popular. Oh,
we have a band called Cripplecock. We have another band called Miss Bliss that is really good. It's almost all girls. Who else do we have? B.O.B. is really excellent. Smokey the Porno Star. That's a good band. They all play here.
Besides, but I remember there was a big show. There was a lot of people. There was like 3 or 4 bands playing that night when they were playing first time. And there was a very successful show there. A lot of people had fun, and they were dancing on this close to the stage. They were screaming, yelling. So there was big, good gig. Yeah, I remember that.
Bands like Fear, TSOLs played here. Come out, let's say, in front of Jerry's, and there were people all along down the sidewalk, hanging out down 19th Street, people drinking beers on the corners. I mean, it was a lot more people, and plus there was a coffee shop, Chaos Coffee. A lot of people, that was like a local meeting spot there. Everybody used to hang out.
Korn has their certain style, you know, it came from this town. You know what I mean? They've had that certain style for a long time, but just as far as turning low, you know, they started doing that quite a few years ago. But when they had the other band, LAPD, it was pretty much influenced the same way. But our band just, you know, it's hard to play something and not someone go, ooh, that sounds just like Korn.
Yeah, I saw him here in the basement. At the time, there was another band called Cradle of Thorns, which was really popular locally, and they're kind of getting a little bit bigger. They're called Videodrone now.
And you gotta be born with some kind of dream of success. There was some kind of undermined the feeling that they're gonna be big, but I never knew that they're gonna be as big as right now.
It's a lock it'll be #1. First week out, I bet it's #1.
Yeah, baby, right there, son. 5th row from the front, ground floor. First in line, the Wiz, Ticketmaster outlet, New Jersey.
The band rocks, the CD rocks. I got it like last week because the store I know sells it ahead of time, like a month in advance. So I got the CD.
You kidding?
Yeah. There's a store in the village that I know that goes there. Look, oh, what? Wrong one. I got the good cover too.
I got the other cover.
Which one you got? The one with the doll?
Nah, with the 4 faces, 5 faces.
This is hot though. I like that one. That one is fat. This is hot.
You know what? I've heard 3 songs off it. It comes out tomorrow, but I've heard 3 songs, and 1 song we're playing on the radio, "Falling Away From Me." Videos on MTV also. It's awesome.
I work in a record store, and I even put down money so I can get mine the day it comes out. I want that album so bad.
8 Someone's Boot, Korn, Rob Zombie. Pretty cool. Oh, you want to go shot?
There you go.
Profile, another side. From the left, please. Face forward.
Cool.
Just for Jonathan Davis.
At school, he says he wore makeup and women's clothes. His nickname is HIV, as a sort of agreement with the faggot term that he was dubbed in high school. Jonathan also fell in love with glam rock and formed a band called Sex Art.
Jonathan Davis, I've said this before, I've interviewed Jonathan Davis a couple of times. #1, in my opinion, a great guy.
I met Korn and I cried to him, baby. You remember me?
Great person to interview. And when I see him on stage and he's just so huge, I can't believe it's the same guy. Because when you interview him, he's just like, yeah, this is this and that. And he gets on stage and, you know, they're playing their music and he explodes up there.
It's Jonathan Davis. Oh my God, he's
like
my
every
man.
joke.
What I gather from interviewing him, very smart, extremely smart. Been around the block, I think, and nice guy, good guy.
My name is Natasha, and I want to see with Jonathan Davis from Korn because he's the man. Did you get I touched his ass? It's my claim to fame.
You did what?
What?
You did what?
I didn't kiss his ass. I would like to, but I touched his ass. Oh, that's a little extreme. I want to kiss his ass. I don't want to kiss his ass.
Every heavy metal girl I know like sweats Jonathan Davis. They just sit there like, oh my God, it's Jonathan Davis.
It's not only because he's beautiful.
He's got to lose the mustache though.
Yeah, he's definitely got to lose him.
He's got to get rid of that Trent Reznor look.
Brian Shuck from Orgy, who Korn helped to sign, played guitar with Sex Art. Sex Art's the band that originally wrote the song Blind. Brian is credited for it on their video. Korn rewrote the bass and some guitar parts, but the lyrics and the other parts of the song are pretty much the same. Jonathan got a degree in mortuary science in San Francisco. He was a Kern County autopsy assistant. Jonathan wasn't so keen on live folks. He was fascinated with death.
You know what? This is why they're unique, I think, in my opinion. Lyrically, nobody can touch them. Maybe musically, there's a few bands out there that can match up to Korn a little bit, and they have that Korn style, but nobody can match Jonathan Davis's lyrics that he spits out.
Seeing all those dead auto victims, gang members and stuff, I guess he also learned to value life too.
He sings about everything. I mean, not really political, a lot of personal issues that apparently that he's gone through, I think. That's what I get from it. And he sings with a lot of emotion, a lot of feeling, and the music they put behind his lyrics gets in your face. And that's what's cool about it.
Release of energy, tension. When you stress out during the day, you come home from work, you pop some Korn in, get a little angry puss on your face, and then it goes away after a while and you feel good again.
What's up, John? You're the man. You're the man.
The song Pretty is a story about a little girl that came into the coroner's office when Jonathan was working there. She was fucked by her dad. Her legs were broken, and he just fucked her like a toy doll. It was the most horrible thing Jonathan had ever seen in his life, and he still has nightmares about it.
I just want to say to the guys, thanks for bringing music back to New York, to Harlem especially. There's a lot of bands that wouldn't have the balls to do this kind of shit, but thank you for bringing this back to the city. You know, there's a lot of kids out here that really love your music. I'm a big fan, very big inspirational band, and I just want to say thank you, bro. You guys bring a lot of, you know, inspiration to the kids, to, you know, adults out there everywhere, and thanks for bringing the music back to the streets, man.
Thank you, Korn, for doing what you do. It means a lot to us.
It's never an overnight success. And if it is, it's rare. I'm sure there are some bands out there that, you know, started playing together, they got discovered, and a year later they had a hit single. But man, you take the big bands out there, and they were driving around in their own little vans from city to city, staying at Motel 6. Nothing wrong with Motel 6. Before they got huge. Korn's a perfect example.
Played with a band called Frasier, hardcore band. Back in the early 90s, late 80s. Used to play with everybody, the shows with everybody, No Doubt, Big Drill Card, 24/7 Spies, Primus, all those cats. And just hide gun right now. You know what I'm saying?
The first group the guys formed was called LAPD, which stood for Love and Peace, dude.
Well, let's see. LAPD. We threw a party at our drummer's house. In the garage, we used to rehearse in the garage. It was converted. It was a 3-car garage converted into a rehearsal spot. So, you know, it's a big yard. We threw a party, like 300 people at the party. You know, we cooked food and all that stuff. So we were playing, and we had LAPD play in the garage. it was this outrageous pit in the garage, man. And they took the door off the garage, man. It's a side door that we used to go in that was built in. Tore the door up. Door was on the ground, man. It was just out of hand. Drums set on the floor. People stage diving off the drum riser. You know, LAPD show. Something crazy, and damn, they got banned from so many clubs. You know.
Later on, they got out of Bakersfield and headed to Huntington Beach.
Long Beach was hard, man. You know what I'm saying? It's still kind of hard, but back then when I came in, we were like on Cherry Avenue, PCH and Cherry, you know, on Gardenia, and just like gangster heavy, a lot of gangsters, you know. Eastside Longos were out there. Then you had the Asian Exotics. Then you had the Little Rascals. Then you had Suicidal, the big Samoan gangsters. In the span of like 5-6 blocks. So all this was together, you know. So it was hardcore. Believe that. We had an identity in hip hop then, you know. The gangster hip hop stuff. We all kind of people. Domino is out of there coming out, and you know, you had Snoop Dogg do his thing, you know. And so we had a little hip hop thing going on then. It wasn't really the rock thing right then. You know, we went elsewhere for the rock thing, you know, out of Long Beach for a while, you know. So they started picking up, putting bands together, and started networking and knowing each other. Then it was starting to click. You know what I'm saying? It was the start of a click. That's what the Long Beach thing was, even with the team play at the Tropicana, you know. And we were back, you know, and back in the Tropicana, in the dressing room area, there was big mirror on the wall. You know what I'm saying? This huge mirror. By the time Fieldy and I think it was Fieldy and John or Monkeys, one or the other, playing around roughhousing, the whole thing came down. Destroyed it. Banned. Can't play my club anymore.
Life was hard as LAPD, and Head almost became a gas station attendant as an alternative career.
You know what's cool about Korn? They have been around. They just didn't come out 2 weeks ago and then they're huge. Korn has been around for a good amount of time, and they've done what they've done, and they didn't change to fit this or fit that. They've always had a core group of fans, and the group kept building. Now they're massive. They're huge, and they're melodic but hard, which is what I really like about them.
They had antics. You know what I'm saying? You go to a show, the LAPD show, man. You already knew it wasn't just gonna be a regular show, man. It's something outrageous was gonna happen. I mean, they would come out some kind of way. Something was gonna be on. You know what I'm saying? Al's Bar, LAPD. And Al's Bar, you've been in Al's Bar before, right? So you know there's like the low ceiling with the water pipes and everything exposed. During this, the lead singer jumps on the pipes, swinging back. You can't swing on those pipes, man. They're fragile. Bust the pipe open. Water floods the room. Band. Oh my goodness, man. They would come out with the lead singer would come out with whipped cream all over his body. Onto the stage. These guys were crazy, man. They were trips. They were funny though. They were some funny guys.
LAPD broke up after one EP and a record of Chili Pepper style funk.
They had to make a few band member adjustments first. They added Head on guitar. He used to hang around with him, but he wasn't in the band. You know what I'm saying? Until they started making those changes, then they added him to the band. They found their lead singer, put up in Bakersfield and everything. Another friend of theirs.
Monkey and Head were at a bar having a few beers and heard Jonathan singing. Jonathan was wearing leopard skin tights and a skirt. After deciding on Jonathan as the new frontman, the band needed a new name. Jonathan described the short decision-making process. He said, we were trying to think of a name, and Korn popped in my head. And I said, what about Korn? And everyone said, fuck yeah!
And they decided to change the name to Korn. You know, and they told me about that. You know, I talked to Phil. He said, yeah, we named Korn. Like, Korn? Korn? Korn, man. Korn. Yeah, Korn. It's cool, huh? I guess so. I mean, it's corn, man. You eat corn. It's corn. Okay, whatever. Yeah, all right, whatever. You know, it was a joke then, but now it's large. You know, so.
When he was asked about the name, David said, it kind of means it doesn't matter what your band's called. Because Korn, that's a dumb name. But when a band gets established, it makes the name cool. And that was when Korn became Korn!
Well, I'll tell you, man, when them guys changed Korn, they used to play a lot of shows in Hollywood and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And like the Coconut Teaser and stuff like that. And the thing about it was, you know, they were a new band, you know? And, you know, you a new band like that, even though it was an old unit, it's a new band anyway because of the new members, and you don't have a crowd, you know what I'm saying? So what they would do, they made a scene, you know, for the record labels to see, and A&R, you know, for the newspapers. They brought their own crowd in from Bakersfield. You know, they would, you know, rent a bus, pack that shit full of people, drive out here, fill up to get their coconut tea. Looked like they just, you know what I'm saying? Just sold out. Everybody would come see them, man, but no, they'll bring their own crowd. They did that for a while. You know, we used to do shows out in Huntington Beach and stuff. They would bring their own crowd, you know, just fill the place up, man. So that's how they got their buzz. They started off with a large crowd. But it's smart, you know. Rent a bus and bring your own crowd with you, man, from your hometown. Looks like you just got it going on, you know.
Korn kids are very, very dedicated fans. They were hanging out with Korn at their shows when they were playing for 100 people in Bakersfield or little clubs in LA. And they're there in the front row in the pit when they play arenas. They know all about Korn. They're on the websites. They start their own websites. They know everything about Jonathan Davis and Monkey and Head and their real names and this and that. And just dedicated people that have stuck with the band, whether they, you know, as I said, playing small or playing huge.
It was new, you know, nobody ever seen that shit really before until they started doing that. It's like, did they just bring their own crowd here, man? Is this bus there? All these crazy kids coming off at that party. Get drunk before they get to the show, so they're all blown, and they just have the party inside. And that shit's outrageous, man. Just get people to come to the show like that.
So basically, dedication, devotion, stick with it. And after 10 years, if you haven't made it, work at the supermarket. Just kidding.
The name Korn is rumored to come from a party that Jonathan was at. There was an incident involving two gay guys and a kernel of corn on a tongue. He overheard two homosexuals talking about belching each other. One had diarrhea and crapped on the other's face. And when he opened his mouth, a corn kernel was stuck on his tongue. From then on, whenever he said corn to anyone, they almost puked. Some sick shit, man.
And I started hanging out at the shop. I wasn't really working then. Started doing odd things around the shop, emptying the trash, tracing patterns, maybe putting the patterns on customers, and slowly started just watching and learning. I usually stick my nose into people's business to find out things. And basically, he tried to teach me things. I would sneak in people at night and tattoo on them, and they look really horrible. So I had to fix them, but basically learned from him a lot of mistakes. And I eventually moved out of Bakersfield, moved to St. Louis. Gregorio and some other people taught me certain ways, the right way to do stuff, and then slowly just going to different shops and working and talking with other artists, kind of slowly learned it on my own. I haven't done any work on them, but I am going to do a piece on Monkey. He wants to get a, as far as last time he told me, he wanted a, like a compass, north, south, east, west, for all the places that he tours. Just kind of a symbolic thing to him. But as far as everyone else, mostly Sean Smith has done most of their work. I met him. He was tattooing on Loke, is Jonathan Davis's bodyguard. He just did a little Jesus on him at A&M Records when they were recording the last album. And he does mostly Reggie's tattoos. And he's done David's, I think, David's cat. And Jonathan's priest, I think he did that too.
Jonathan's is a tattoo of a crazed bishop. He's ripping up his skin to reveal Christ. The bishop is his symbol of the atrocities that religion is making.
Other than that, we've just been friends with him, you know, we've all kind of grew up, the tight-knit, the older music people all kind of grew up together. We've always been in the same bands at one time or played together. You know, we've all, you know, rocked out.
There's a whole story attached to Freddie Durst and Korn tattoos.
Hey, we're here to see Limp Bizkit. I can't wait for the show. Hell yeah.
That's Fred Durst. He signed my $10 bill. He signed my $10 bill.
Here, right there.
I love Fred.
Korn played in Jacksonville at the Milk Bar. Fred hooked up with Fieldy with Korn. Went up and introduced himself as a tattoo artist and asked if the band wanted to get free tattoos.
From what I understood, it wasn't even during business hours. He had met him at a concert. He was like, "Hey, I do tattoos. Would you like to get one?" And you know, he was like, "Okay, sure." You know, they came in, they did the work, and next time they came back, they came looking for Fred. The joke is that he had done something wrong, and they came looking for him, and he got to know him. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the joke that goes around. It could be true or not. You never know.
He tattooed a Korn tattoo on Brian's back, and pretty awful tattoo, but I think Brian got it covered up. He slipped Reggie a tape, which Reggie passed on to Ross Robinson, and Ross dug it. Ross was into the band from the get-go.
I think that Fred dropped a demo in their lap, and Korn said the next time that we're in town, why don't you open for us? And I think that actually took place. At the same time, the guys from Korn were dropping the demo into some producers' hands, some execs' hands, and I guess being in the Korn arena and people who are associated with that genre of music, Deftones and Rage Against the Machine before all of those guys, those kinds of producers are looking for those kinds of acts.
I guess he caught some of the buzz that was going around, and the songs were good. And from then on, it was the matter of Fred working his magic on the phone and talking to management and producers and people in the industry, man. Just he had them all connected like right away. He was hooked up with all these people, and it was never-ending phone calls around the Limp Bizkit rehearsal house. Fred's always getting calls from all these people, and it was clear that Ross was the one to produce the band, but Fred definitely made his way in the business pretty quick.
I think he did Fieldy and Head from the band. And Fred being a tattoo artist, and tattoos are very popular here as well as elsewhere. It seems that whether it's a tattoo or cleaning somebody's floor, as long as you get the demo into the right hands at the right time, it's key to your success.
I get calls from Korn kids, you know, hourly, whether I'm at work or at home, you know. No, at work, of course. Just requesting Korn. We want to hear the new Korn. We want to hear Chutes and Ladders. We want to hear Blind, Got the Life, Freak on a Leash. Then they request songs they know we can't play on the radio, but they call for those anyways.
Korn's first album was self-titled, and with the release of this CD, grunge metal died. They go to war with each other on their instruments, and when they've spawned a fucking monster, they know they got a song.
Plus, if you can get a lot of money behind you, you know, because they were like the first big band that broke the label. That little label they were on. At first, it was a small gig, you know, until they started selling records. And now it's Immortal is huge now, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, they carry their own fan base, man. Everybody who started back off with them then. I mean, even from the LAPD days when it was on Triple X Records, you know, just followed them up, man. Grew up with them, and just bigger and bigger. You tell somebody about it, you know. They were the new hip thing, you know. They were like the new trend. And, you know, when you're a new trend, man, you're just gonna keep on growing, man, because people want to be a part of it, be hip and cool. You know what I'm saying?
Life is Peachy was recorded after a 2-year gap.
I think they've stuck to their guns, meaning what they started doing, they're still doing. I mean, they've advanced a lot and changed a little bit, but they didn't change to fit any so-called system. As I said, they started out, they had 10 fans. Those 10 fans told 10 other kids. They told 10 kids, and they had 100 people, and then at some point, radio couldn't avoid this anymore, and radio had to start playing Korn. Threw them on the radio, and now this so-called cult following is mass appeal.
I think the fact that Korn has done so well and made several hit albums already coming out of Bakersfield, that definitely gives hope for the bands that are trying to do something now and putting themselves together and trying to get signed on labels. It gives the record companies, you know, they can see that something good has come out of Bakersfield. Maybe they'll be looking for other bands. It might give others opportunities that wouldn't have had so before.
And yeah, and Korn, you know, has been everybody's, you know, more people coming out of the woodwork now that they're famous. Know them, but I mean the true friends that hung around him and stuff. There is a lot of influence from that band because, you know, it's cool that no one else makes it, you know, as far as they have. At least we've known somebody from this town, and that's what kind of draws the music community together in this town, is because of those guys. There's just I mean, it keeps that you know, that flame of hope lit, to be able to get out of this town and make it. And then, you know, on their connections, and they kind of opened a lot of eyes for the record industry to actually look at Bakersfield and look at the talent that is available here. Because it's not like LA, there's not everyone's a musician, you know. There's the few bands that are here, and most of them are pretty good.
They discovered and signed both Limp Bizkit and Orgy.
They started elementary, and they signed Orgy, and Ryan Shuck, the guitar player, he was from Taft and lived here. But they also signed Videodrome, used to be Cradle Thorns, and they're all from here. In fact, the singer and the bass player, they live in Bakersfield still. Mavis and Ty. And yeah, they signed, Videodrome was all from here. They've been playing together for like 10, 11 years. Yeah, forever. And they are supposedly, I don't know when it's supposed to happen. They're supposed to start another label for just friends to try and help them out. I don't know I haven't got all the statistics on or anything. That's just what I was told by somebody, that they were going to start another label to help more Bakersfield bands out and stuff like that.
Korn toured everywhere in the beginning.
Pretty much at the time it was smaller venues, club scenes, a lot of dark places, stuck in the corner, you know. A lot of people, when we first started out, before they knew who Limp Bizkit was, they were like, you know, Limp who? What's that? We started out with, I mean, we were on tour with Korn, and everybody was, you know, oh, Korn.
Working with Korn and Limp Bizkit was actually fantastic because it's such of a family atmosphere. Korn had a tremendous amount to do with them being signed, so obviously Korn wanted them along, and that made it real good. And they wanted to be there because they were friends before that situation happened anyway. So yeah, it was real good. Korn made sure that everybody was taken care of, that we were treated right, and it was like being the little brother band. It was quite an experience. It was quite fun, and the guys in Korn are just wonderfully nice people, really good people. So yeah, that was a fun tour.
There was times when we were ecstatic to sell 5 t-shirts. I mean, I'd come back on the tour bus and I'd be like, guys, we sold 5 shirts. They're like, yeah. And it just, every day, it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just like, I mean, hey, we sold 500 t-shirts today. Oh, that's cool, you know. Now they're selling millions of shirts, making millions of dollars.
Korn is infamous for their backstage parties. In the bizarre joining of rock and porn, Matt Zane, the man responsible for such classics as Backstage Sluts 1 and 2, organized Jonathan's Stag Night Party. In Rolling Stone, Jonathan said, I love this guy. He does new shit, like reverse gangbangs where this guy gets fucked by 18 chicks. What are they like on stage? Pure fucking excitement.
I like Korn because they're just really loud, super loud.
You guys were awesome at Woodstock. Awesome. Awesome show. I was about 50 yards from the stage, man. Awesome.
At Woodstock, oh, they kicked ass. I was in the side, trying to get up there, and eventually I was like, oh, I couldn't get up anymore. People were going crazy. They were slaughtering each other, and they were ripping each other apart. It was good.
They sing about sex.
Adidas means all day I dream about sex.
Well, I think one of the funniest things I may have seen was we went to a topless bar when we were out with Korn, and Wes ran out of dollar bills, so he decided to put all of his change. He dropped it in the girl's G-string, which it fell out and went everywhere, and she was quite upset. And it took me some time to convince her that he wasn't being mean. It was just all the money he had, so he was donating it. Of course, with Wes, he's a super intelligent person, and you never know if he's joking around or if he actually did it innocently, but I think he did it innocently. So that was pretty funny, trying to explain that. I know one time on the bus, we had a few drinks, and I passed out, and we woke up in Texas at a truck stop, and I got off the bus to go to the bathroom, and they'd completely painted me with magic markers. My face was completely painted, which I didn't realize till I walked past all the truckers and went to the bathroom and saw myself in the mirror, which was shocking. And it was permanent ink, so it took about half the tour for it to wear off. Later that day, I discovered they'd done my belly and made faces on my stomach also. So that was pretty funny. They got me on that.
Lollapalooza! I fucking thank you for that.
Lollapalooza 97 was a cathartic experience for the band. They toured with Porno for Pyros and Prodigy, but Monkey got meningitis, and the band felt that they had to drop out of the tour. The third album was Follow the Leader, and it went #1 the first week it was out. Jonathan said, "This is the bomb. We're gonna stuff it with the baddest grooves and the heaviest shit ever. Fuck it. Fuck radio. Fuck everything."
When they recorded NRG, when they did Follow the Leader, I used to live across the street. This is North Hollywood, and that was the first time I've ever been in a big recording studio. and got to see like, you know, $1 million spent on an album, you know, just being in there 3-4 months, just have total access to this multi-million-dollar studio. Energies, Beck just did his last record there. 311 done their stuff, no doubt. Energies like huge, big studio, but yeah, it was kind of, it seemed like when I got out of Energy and came back and started writing stuff, a little bit of that influence was kicking in there somewhere. And that's just, I mean, that's just something I've wanted since I was a little kid, just to make it, or at least get close to it. And here's people that we know that are and have made it, and are having such a good time doing it. And they're not stuck up, they don't have their head up their asses, you know? They're really cool about stuff. What they have is what you have. If they have beer, that's your beer. You know what I mean? Anything, whatever they can do to make you feel comfortable, will do that.
They hit national headlines when a dude from Zeeland High School got busted for wearing a Korn t-shirt by the principal. The school rules forbade any clothing that implied sex, drugs, alcohol, or sexual innuendos. The land of the free and home of the brave? I don't think so.
Hope Korn can appreciate how much they are, how lucky they are to have us out here freezing our ass off for them. What would you tell them?
Well, if anyone's gonna stick around for a long time, I think it'll be Korn, for sure. They started this whole genre of the Kid Rocks and Limp Bizkits, and they're so smart. As I said, a lot of people can compare musically, but lyrically, no one can touch them, in my opinion. And maybe they'll change musically a little bit, but if they keep spitting out lyrics like they do, they're gonna be fine. They'll be around a long time.
Tiny camera.
Are you bringing that home? You're gonna jerk off to it? What? Come on, man. Masturbation.